In this video, I'm going to show you how we can use the hundreds chart to help us when we're looking at one more, one less, 10 more, 10 less of a number. So let's say that we have the number 33. So I'm going to find the number 33 on the hundreds chart. I see that it's right here. As I'm using the hundreds chart, a lot of times the ones that are really easy is what's one more. So as I'm looking at what's one more, I know that the way that the 100 chart is set up, all I have to do is move one space over to the right. And I know that one more is 34. This is also can be used similarly if I want to know what's one less. So if I want to know what is one less, I just go the opposite way. I go backwards one to the left, and I see that one less is 32. Where it gets a little bit trickier is when I want to know what's 10 more than a number. So if I think about this, the way that the hundreds chart is set up is that as I go down the rows, the numbers get larger by 10. As if I was counting by 10, 33, 43, 53. I see that it gets bigger by a group of 10. My 10s get bigger by 1. Or if I go up on the hundreds chart in the same column, then I see that my tens place gets smaller by 1. So this helps me as I'm looking for the numbers that are 10 more and 10 less. So if I want to know 10 more, I'm going to go straight below as I see that the 1s stay the same and the tens place just get bigger by one group of 10. So 10 more would be 43. Likewise, 10 less is going to be going up one, which is 23. So let's try another one. Let's try this time. Let's say I want to look at the number 47. So first I'm going to find 47 on the hundreds chart. And then I'm going to look at the ones around it. So one more would be over here. One less would be to the left. 10 more would be right below. And 10 less would be right above. You see it kind of makes a cross or a plus on the hundreds chart. It's an easy way to see those numbers that are immediately around those are one more, one less, 10 more, 10 less. I can check this by looking. If I'm looking at one more, you'll notice that the tens place stays the same. There's a 4 in both of the tens place, but the ones place just goes up by 1. Similarly, if I look at one less, the tens place stays the same, but the ones place gets smaller by 1. And we can see this with the tens as well. 10 more, the 1 stays the same, but the tens gets 1s bigger. And then 10 less, the 1s stay the same, but the tens place gets smaller by 1. So this is just an easy tool to help you as you're looking at the hundreds chart to help solve your one more, one less, 10 more, 10 less. So let's take a look at another example of what you might see in your work today. As you're working, you'll see a number in the middle, or it'll ask you a number. And this is like it's taking a piece out of the hundreds chart. So pretend like this is cut out of the hundreds chart. And it even tells you one more, one less, 10 more, 10 less. So some of you may be able to do this without looking at the hundreds chart, and others may still need to look at it. So if I have 55, I know that one more than 55, as if I was counting on, 55 plus one more, I know is 55, 56. So I would write 56 here. If I'm looking the other direction, I have to think about one less is what comes before 55. So if I have 56, 55, counting backwards would be 54. Notice that if I'm dealing with ones, my ones place is what's changing in these three numbers, but my tens place stays the same. I'm not changing my groups of 10. If I'm looking at the 10 more and 10 less, I have 55, and I'm thinking about 10 more. So that means I'm adding one more group of 10 but my ones are staying the same. So if I have 5 groups of 10 here, I know I'm going to add one more group of 10, which would make 6 groups of 10, and my ones stay the same. So 55 and 10 more is 65. Thinking of that the other way, 55 and I'm taking away one group of 10. If I have 5 groups here and I'm taking one away, then I would have 4 groups of 10 and 5 ones still because I'm not changing any ones. I can look on the hundreds chart and double check myself. So I'll find 55 right here. Then I can see as my plus goes around, I should be able to double check myself that these numbers are the same as these numbers. And they are. Let's try one more together this way. This time I want you to get out your hundreds chart and a whiteboard and figure it out with me. So at this time you can get out your materials, pause, and see if you can figure out what will go in each of these spots. Now that you've paused and figured it out on your own, let's think through this together. So if I have 21, I'm thinking about what number comes next with one more right over here. So 21, counting on one more would be 22. Then if I think going backwards, one less, 21, and I'm taking away one or counting backwards would be 20. I can double check because as I go it should make sense. 20, 21, 22. It goes in order by ones. My tens are all staying the same, but my ones place is getting bigger by 1, just like the hundreds chart would do. As I'm looking here with my 10 more and 10 less, let's start with 10 more. If I'm looking at 21, there's 2 10s and 1 1. I'm just adding one more group of 10. So one more group of 10 would make it 3 groups of 10 or 30. And I'm not changing the ones, there's still that 1 left over. So I would have 31. If I'm looking at 10 less, I have 2 groups of 10. Taking one group of 10 away would mean I would have 1 group of 10, and the ones stay the same. So I would keep the 1 in the ones place, making 11. Let's double check on the hundreds chart. If I'm finding 22, if I'm finding 21, this one gets a little bit tricky because as I'm checking and doing my 1 more, that makes sense, it's there. My 10 more is right below. My 10 less is right above, but my 1 less is cut off. So we remember if this happens, then we go up to right over here, and we can see that it's 20. So our numbers match, it made sense, and we've got them all. So this is an easy trick to help you with 1 more, 1 less, 10 more, 10 less. Feel free to use that hundreds chart and have that out with you as you are working today.